Chapter 23. A man shall not take his father's wife, and shall not uncover his father's skirt. He that is crushed or maimed in his privy parts shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord. A bastard shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation shall none of his enter into the assembly of the Lord. An Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation shall none of them enter into the assembly of the Lord forever. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when you came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against you Balaam the son of Beor from Pethor of Aram Naharaim to curse you. Nevertheless the Lord your God would not hearken unto Balaam, but the Lord your God turned the curse into blessing unto you, because the Lord your God loved you. You shall not seek their peace nor their prosperity all the days forever. You shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. You shall not abhor an Egyptian, because you was a stranger in his land. The children of the 3rd generation that are born unto them may enter into the assembly of the Lord. When ye goest forth in a camp against your enemies, ye shall keep you from every evil thing. If there be among you any man that is not clean, by reason of that which chanceth him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp. He shall not come within the camp, but it shall be, when evening cometh on, he shall bathe himself in water, and when the sun is down, he may come within the camp. You shall have a place also without the camp, whither you go forth abroad. And you shall have a paddle among your weapons, and it shall be, when you sittest down abroad, you shall dig therewith, and shall turn back, and cover that which cometh from you. For the Lord your God walks in the midst of your camp, to deliver you, and to give up your enemies before you. Therefore shall your camp be holy, that he see no unseemly thing in you, and turn away from you. You shall not deliver unto his master a bondman that escaped from his master unto you. He shall dwell with you in the midst of you, in the place which he shall choose within one of your gates, wherein he liketh him best. You shall not wrong him. There shall be no harlot of the daughters of Israel, neither shall be a sodomite of the sons of Israel. You shall not bring the hire of a harlot, or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord your God, for any vow. For even both these are an abomination unto the Lord your God. You shall not lend upon interest to your brother, interest of money, interest of victuals, interest of anything that is lent upon interest. Unto a foreigner you mayest lend unto interest, but unto the brother you shall not lend unto interest, that the Lord your God may bless you in all that you puttest your hand unto, in the land where you go in to possess it. You shall vow a vow unto the Lord your God. You shall not be slack to pay it, for the Lord your God will surely require of you, and it will be sin in you. But if you shall forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in you. That which is gone out of your lips you shall observe and do, according as you have vowed freely unto the Lord your God, even that which you have promised within your mouth. When you comest into your neighbor's vineyard, then you mayest eat grapes until you have enough at your own pleasure, but you shall not put any in your vessel. When you comest into your neighbor's standing corn, you mayest pluck ears with your hand, but you shall not move a sickle unto the neighbor's standing corn. Okay, let's go back up here to verse 1. Verse 1, if you have a King James version, this verse ain't even going to be in your book. Your King James will start with verse 2, or verse 2 will be your verse 1. Verse 1, a man shall not take his father's wife, and shall not uncover his father's skirt. Self-explanatory. A man shall not go in unto his mother or his father's wife, if his father's had 2 wives. A man shall not do this. He shall not uncover his father's skirt. This is what he does when he does this. He goes into his father's wife, and it uncovers his father's skirt. He that is crushed or maimed in his private parts shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord. So what this is saying, if one is unable to produce, a male is unable to produce, he is not allowed to enter into the assembly. This is where they serve the Lord. They come down and those that minister to the Lord. A bastard, verse 3, shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation shall none of his enter into the assembly of the Lord. Now this word bastard here we're talking about is an Israelite who married a non-Israelite, is what we're talking about here. They aren't allowed to serve the Lord either. Now we'll notice it says until the 10th generation. So this is not a good thing in the eyes of the Lord, because he commanded you not to mingle things together, and this is one thing he's talking about. When we start mingling things together, where they're not allowed really to intermarry and mingle. Verse 4, an Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation shall none of them enter into the assembly of the Lord forever. All right, see, the Ammonite and the Moabite, we know that they're the sons of Lot, Abraham's nephew. They are relatives, but they were born from an incest between Lot and his daughters. This is not the reason, though, that they're not allowed in, as we see in verse 5, because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when you came out of Egypt, and because they hired against you Balaam, the son of Beor, from Pethor of Aram Naharaim, to curse you. So, and we'll find this little lesson here out in another book, in Exodus, when the children are coming out. They send and hire Balaam to come down and prophesy against Israel, but he is unable to. God turns the tongue in his mouth and causes him to bless Israel instead. Now, verse 6, nevertheless the Lord your God would not listen unto Balaam, but the Lord your God turned the curse into blessing unto you, because the Lord your God loved you. And this is exactly what happened when we go through this book. We're going to learn this story. You shall not seek their peace nor their prosperity all the days forever. So even though God has given them this land, and like he told them when they come through there, you can't have their land. I've given it to them. And God says that you won't seek their peace or their prosperity all the days forever, because they did this to you. When you come up out of Egypt, they didn't meet you with some bread and water. In other words, they didn't have no good word for you. They didn't come to aid you along, knowing you was returning to a land that the Lord had promised to inherit you. They actually called out for the false prophet to come out and prophesy against you, see, but it didn't work, because God turned it into a blessing. Verse 8, you shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. You shall not abhor an Egyptian, because you was a stranger in his land. So God tells us you don't hate the Edomite. That's the sons of children of Esau, the brother to Jacob, or the brother to Israel. You're not allowed to hate them. That's your brother. You can't hate the Egyptian, because you was a stranger in his land. There was a time that they actually helped you out. So we remember their kindness. The children of the 3rd generation that are born unto them may enter into the assembly of the Lord. See, they're in a closer position to be forgiven. God's showing us that there's a period of time here, these generations that God's done, that it takes to cleanse this out. Maybe it's from what the parents are teaching. I don't know. We have to think about this. When you go forth in the camp against your enemies, we're changing subjects. Now we're talking about the army. If you're in the army, when you go forth in the camp against your enemies, you shall keep you from every evil thing. So if there be among you any man, 11, that is not clean by reason of that which chanceth him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp. He shall not come within the camp. And what this is he's chanced upon and violated the laws of cleanliness, or the laws of health, a statute. He's come in contact with a dead body or a carcass, or whatever, maybe something else in the night has come upon him, and he has got to go outside the camp, because why? He doesn't want to pollute the rest of the camp. We don't know exactly what's happened. We're just assuming there is a situation where he's not clean diseased, sick, or something, shouldn't be in the camp. So he has to go outside the camp. Verse 12, but it shall be when evening comes on, he shall bathe himself in water, and when his sun is down, he may come within the camp. So he's allowed to return at sundown the next day after he washes himself, and they can see that there's nothing wrong with him. Back then they didn't have the doctors, and they didn't have the things we have today to make sure and to have the understanding of what's going on. You shall have a place also outside your camp where you go forth abroad. This is where you would go use the restroom. Don't God's saying go outside the camp and use your restroom. And you shall have a paddle among your weapons, and it shall be, when you sittest down abroad, you shall dig therewith, and shall turn back, and cover that which cometh from you. So when you go out and use the restroom, you got a paddle, a shovel. This is a shovel among your weapons, in your implements of destruction. There's a shovel. And you use this shovel when you go out to use the restroom, and you sit it. This is the where you sit to use the restroom. You shall dig a hole, use your restroom in the hole, and then you'll turn around and cover it up, that which cometh out of you. Verse 15, for the Lord your God walketh in the midst of your camp, to deliver you, and to give up your enemies before you. Therefore shall your camp be holy, that he see no unseemly thing, and turn away from you. Once again, this is a health law. Well, you don't want to use the restroom all around your tents, all around the camp there. It's going to get nasty and start to stink. God's walking around among you, strengthening you constantly, and this is nasty. God don't want to. This is not where God wants to be. So God's commanding you with a health law to keep your camp clean. Go outside your camp and use the restroom. Verse 16, you shall not deliver unto his master a bondman that is escaped from his master unto you. And basically here we're not talking to an individual. We're talking to the nation of Israel. So if a bondsman from another nation runs and flees unto Israel and escapes from there to them, they're not allowed to deliver them back up. He shall dwell with you, verse 17, in the midst of you, in the place which he shall choose within one of your gates, wherewith he liketh the best. You shall not wrong him. This is one that escapes from his master, and the higher understanding here, we're always looking for a higher understanding in these earthly teachings, is that this is a bondsman, one who has fled from not a God. He has fled from the captivity of the prison cells, religion, and he has come unto Israel looking for salvation from their God, the only God that there is. So Israel is not allowed to take and turn this man back and say, here, take him back, we don't want him. They have to give him a place wherever he chooses. You can't wrong him by turning him back. You're going to have to teach him, bring him in, show him the understanding that God has given you. He has come to you seeking this. He's escaped. He's one that comes from Babylon. There shall be no harlot of the daughters of Israel, neither shall there be a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Changing subjects again. Once again, God's handed down some health laws. You shall not be a harlot. She's talking to the women here. You don't go selling your body. You're going to wind up getting diseased and sick, and this is a pollution. This is a thing where the higher understanding here, of course, is that we offer our understanding as a harlot. We don't offer our understanding as a harlot for anybody just to come in and take it up and go use it however they want to, because this is not the way it's done. And this is what being a harlot represents, that you offer your body up to these strangers, and they come in and they pollute your body. And you wind up the one who takes the disease and the sickness for it. Plus, you're tempting them to do a horrible thing. They are tempted into the lust of their flesh, and this we should be trying to draw people and teach them to manage this. We have to learn to manage this, and by exercising, constantly rejecting all evil thought. Then neither shall there be a sodomite of the sons of Israel. And this is just simply a homosexual, a male prostitute. See, this ain't going to be allowed anyway. This shouldn't be allowed. Man, he's talking to man and woman. Neither one should sell their body. 19, that you should not bring the hire of a harlot or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord your God for a vow. For even both of these are an abomination of the Lord your God. God said to be a harlot or a male prostitute. This is a dog here, according to the position. I guess they would assume. I don't. Any money they make from this, God doesn't want you to bring it into His house and give Him tithes of this increase. This is an abomination. He doesn't want no part of this. He said, don't do it. So don't consider your gain in any portion that of God. You should not lend upon interest to your brother. We're going to change subjects again. Interest of money, interest of victuals, interest of anything that is lent upon interest. So it doesn't matter what anything that you could charge interest on. You can't charge your brother interest. No interest. 21. And to a foreigner, though, you may charge interest. But unto your brother you shall not lend upon interest. Why? That the Lord your God may bless you in all that you put your hand unto in the land where you go in to possess it. And the understanding here is don't charge the people in your own country interest. I'm trying to bless your nation and build them up. If you charge them interest, it's only going to set them backwards. So the reasoning here is you can charge a foreigner some interest. I'm not trying to build their country up. I'm trying to build yours up. But we're going to be more fair than that because, see, we want everybody to treat everybody the same. This is the overall understanding we should have tried to achieve. We want to be fair. We want everybody to be fair with us. One set of weights. We have one set of weights. Verse 22, when you shall vow a vow unto the Lord your God, you shall not be slack to pay it. For the Lord your God will surely require it of you. It will be sin in you. Now, so if you promise to do something, do it. If you're saying, I promise, you do it. This is where you're opening your mouth, you're making a promise. Don't be one that slacks on promises. It always breaks somebody's heart. But if you shall forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in you. So, if you don't make no promises, there ain't no sin in not promising anything. See, the sin comes from not doing what you said you would do. You lied. Now, so you shouldn't lie. This goes with bearing false witness against your neighbor. Lying, period. Anytime we lie, it's a false witness. That which has gone out of your lips, you shall observe and do, according as you have vowed freely unto the Lord your God, even that which you have promised with your mouth. See, that's what a vow is, your promise. That which we intend to do, if we've opened our mouth and made a promise to an individual, we should be good to accomplish this task if we can any way possibly do it. Why? Because that's what we expect of them. 25. When you comest into your neighbor's vineyard, changing subject, then you mayest eat grapes till you have enough at your own pleasure, but you shall not put any in your vessel. And we're talking here to people who are the homeless, these people who don't have a vineyard, these people who don't have crops of their own. See, if you're wandering and you come into your neighbor's vineyard, it's okay to pluck some grapes and eat until you've had enough. But don't go filling up a basket, putting a bunch in a sack, carrying them off. This is stealing, and you shall not steal. There's a higher understanding here too. See, we always trying to look for that in the law. When you comest into your neighbor's standing corn, then you mayest pluck the ears with your hand, but you shall not move a sickle unto your neighbor's standing corn. So, if you come into the neighbor's corn, you're hungry, you're homeless, and you come into his cornfield, it's all right to take a few ears. See, and that if you can carry in your hand, but you ain't allowed to come in there with the sickle, with the harvest machine, come in there and knocking it down like you're going to take all that you want. This is stealing, see. God's trying to teach us, if we're hungry, it's okay to have enough that we can eat ourselves. But don't go filling your pockets. Always looking. We can relate everything back to the law, because God's trying to teach us that from the law comes all understanding. And we can always search every situation, and somehow we're going to understand it. These are all common sense things. Man's hungry, he has to eat. Somebody should be taking care of that man anyway. Now, we learned that from the law as well. So when you look upon your brother and you say, hey, and he's out there in the cornfield and he's taking a few ears of corn that he can eat, get something to eat, and we say, hey, he's stealing. No, he ain't stealing. You've done robbed him. We need to think about these things. All right, we're going to move on. Chapter 24.